This is Umar AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm at the press conference for Dillian Whyte, Chisora 2, joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. How you doing, Eddie?
You're learning off Coogan. I saw you in there. You asked me for an interview. I said, I'm going to have a slash. Come out of the toilet, you're waiting. Do you know what I mean?
Before anyone else grabs you.
Impressive. That's the sort of thing your boss would do. Where is he?
Alabama.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Got to hustle.
Let him off then. We'll let him.
Obviously, massive rematch announced. Got a bit heated with Mark Tibbs and Don Charles as well.
Yeah,
there.
it got a bit heated between Dillian and Chisora as well. Just like Chisora does that just before he picks something up and slings it at you. And Dillian actually, I think Chisora took it in the wrong way where he says, I feel sorry for your family. I was like, oh no. And you see Chisora say, well, why are you talking about us? Like, oh no. And he says, you think you got enough people in here to hold me back? It's like, oh please, no. Because this time around, the first fight was built off almost like a street mentality. Bad blood. This time, that still exists, but it's more about the heavyweight division and actually how important this fight is in the division. So it has credibility this time because the first fight was one of the best fights I've ever seen. I think one of the best fights anyone's ever seen. And the second fight can't be any different. What are they going to do? Go in and dance around and try and, like, Chisora's going to box off the back foot? No. It's going to be an absolute war. And I think, honestly, it'll be better than the first fight.
Obviously, we saw Derek in an absolute war against Takam last time. Dillian in a 50-50 scrap with Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
So, as you said, it's got to be a great fight again.
Well, both guys are coming off career best wins. And Chisora's a remarkable individual. I mean, he had that fight with Dillian, which could have gone either way. He went to Monaco to fight for the European title. He was absolutely dreadful in that fight. And you think his career's over. He comes out against Takam and puts in one of the best performances I've ever seen. He thrives off that kind of pressure, that kind of environment at the O2, people calling his name. And you know on December 22nd, he's going to be an horrible handful. But my God, is Dillian Whyte a handful as well. You know, these two, you wouldn't want to be in that ring fighting any of these guys on the 22nd because, you know, people talk about table throwing and glasses thrown at each other. Watch the first fight. This isn't a gimmick. You know what I mean? Just watch the first fight. It's one of the best fights we've ever seen. So this isn't about selling a fight based on people throwing tables, and this is a fight built off the first fight. One of the best heavyweight fights we've ever seen. And I really believe the rematch will be even better.
What do you make of the whole David Haye link up and the new War Chisora thing?
I'm not sure about the Whyte-Chisora thing. I ain't got a clue what that's all about. But the Haye thing's interesting because you can't deny that Haye will add to Chisora's game, his mindset, his fitness, his nutrition, and his general mindset going into that fight. So I think it's a good thing for Chisora. For me, great. I haven't got to deal with Derek. I can deal with David Haye. He's a good promoter, great salesman. It's a great narrative in the fight that he's even involved in this fight. And welcome. I mean, we've done some great business with the two Bellew fights, and I believe we're going to have another monster show here.
Frank, we're just sitting on the edge that I feel like I need to invite you in.
Just trying to listen to what
he's learning, because if you've seen his press conferences, you know.
What about them?
This is the kind of support I get.
Do you know what I was saying to people in America was like, you got, if we're out somewhere and you're just going up to people and you're just having a laugh at people, you've got so much gain. But then the first 3 or 4 minutes of the press conference, you're like a completely different person.
And then I recover.
Yeah, but you need to be more like that cheeky
That's
chappy.
what Emily said to me.
Yeah, rather than this guy who's like, yeah.
Thanks, mate.
That's what I
Can
mean.
you stop abusing me and then-
Keep listening.
Yeah, I'll just listen to you.
But it's a bit like me with my dad. This is what I used to do, just sit and listen. And after a while, you just get it. So give him a couple of years and we'll be all right.
Couple of years.
Thanks, Dad.
Did Derek need this rematch more than Dylan? Is that fair?
Yes. I mean, there is an argument that Dillian shouldn't be taking this fight. He's won with a WBC. He's won with a WBO mandatory.
Yep.
Yeah. He's won with a WBO, so he's putting it on the line. But I think he genuinely wants to fight. Derek has more to gain in the fight in terms of where it could take him, and Dillian's probably risking a little bit more. I've got the biggest head going. Look. What do you think? Can we sell these? That is a bit of a Trump hat, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, so, yeah, I think it's listen, at this level, it's a risk for everybody, especially coming off what they've just done. Two really good wins. Because he could hang around and get a world title shot, and so could Dillian. But isn't it great that there's actually fighters out there? I mean, look at Dominic Brazil. He's mandatory for the world title. He's just sitting there waiting. These guys aren't prepared to wait. They want the big fights.
There was rumours of Brazil potentially all seas as well. But did he want the Derek fight? Is that the one he wanted?
The Brazil fight was a fight we discussed because it could be a final eliminator. But people get very confused between Instagram and real life. Like, people say to me, Ortiz against Whyte is much bigger than Chisora versus Whyte. Mate, numbers is my life. Trust me, it's nowhere near as big. It might be to this hardcore boxing community, but from a mass market, Whyte-Chisora is huge. We know the numbers it can do because we saw the numbers from July 28th. And if July 28th, Parker and Whyte and Chisora Takam can do those kind of numbers, what can we do on December 22nd? It's going to be a fucking massive Christmas party. That's what it's going to be.
Derek, how happy that rematch is on now?
I was more excited for seeing Eddie Hearn's shaved ass on
Oh,
time.
yeah. It was whack. It definitely, mate, what definitely wasn't shaved. You see, it's like I had a squirrel up there. I'll tell you what, I was just pleased there was no one around the front. Because it's done 940,000 views. Tommy Coyle texted me last night. If it had the front shot, it would have done about 4 million. And you may never have seen me again. You know what I mean?
When I saw it,
I see your one on the toilet. I see your one on the toilet.
My one is a classic.
Yeah, but when you're packing your kind of weapon, you don't mind putting it out on Instagram. You know, when you're like me, you can't have people seeing that.
Funny though. It was quality, man. They got you there, man.
Do you know what he done though, Tommy? He texted me after he done it. He went, "Mate, have you got the ump?" Right? And I went, "No." And I come back to the hotel and he went, "I was going to put it out on Insta, but I knew like you'd have the ump." I went, "No, shut up, mate. Put it out." But I didn't think it would explode like it did. You know what I mean? He put it out and it was
quality.
mate.
Now I know being around those northerners, I have to tighten up my trousers.
I've just come out of the gym as well. No cacks on.
Well, I wasn't going to bring it up, Ed, but there you go.
Do you know? But I'm like, I'm like the laughing stock. I've just found loads of random like memes or whatever they're called of me in doing interviews and just cutting up interviews of me doing certain things, and I just make a fool out of myself, really. But that's part of the game.
Okay, enough on the rematch. A few things I want to ask you. Obviously, Usyk-Bellew next week, one of the biggest fights
Massive
that's happening in
fight
Britain.
here, I believe.
Yeah. Talk to me about it.
I'm excited. I'm nervous. Can Tony do it? Is Usyk what they say he is? Yes, I think. Can Tony do it? Yes. I just can't wait, and I have to be honest. I can't wait as a fan. Because you're getting to see, one, the first ever 4-belt unification fight in British boxing history. Two, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today. And Usyk as well. So I just can't wait to see it unfold. I can't wait to see him in the ring looking at each other in the eye when that bell goes. Just, what happens? Does Tony get completely outboxed? You know, does he match him for skill? Does he try and trade off? Does he push him back? Does he box off the back foot? I don't know. But I can't wait to see that fight unfold. It is just a privilege to be involved in a fight like that.
Now, regardless, we know Tony's going to call it a day afterwards.
Well, yeah, that's the general feeling. You never know. He was supposed to call it a day after the second Hay fight. And I said to him, you know, he talked to me about the Usyk fight a lot. And I said to him, mate, you don't need that fight. But when Usyk called him out after the series, that was it. It was all over. And we have to understand what Tony, not say on the verge, but has the potential to do next Saturday. He has the potential to become the undisputed cruiserweight world champion. He has the potential to go down as a pound-for-pound great. I mean, this is going to really affect people's lives on the internet if Bellew does it. But this is everything. This is legacy. This is, I mean, I can't. This would be in my opinion, I'll say one of the greatest, because people will get on my back otherwise. But even the greatest victory from a British fighter, potentially of all time. You talk about great wins, almost like shock wins, like, I don't know, Hunnigan against Don Curry, right? This is up there with that, but this has everything. This has all the belts. This has the undisputed tag. So this goes down as one of the biggest wins by a British fighter of all time. But he's got to do it, and it's going to be very, very difficult. But I'll tell you what, if there's ever a fighter you want going in to have a go, it's Tony Bellew.
I'm sure Usyk won't be overlooking Tony at all.
No, he'd be mad to, and he's not. Look, one is he's a good guy. He's got a good team of people around him, and he knows the game. He knows the game. I think they think they'll win easy. Okay. But I don't think they think that they'll overlook him. I think they'll train just as hard as they did for the Gassiev fight. He's a pro. He's not the kind of guy who's going to start going out during camp and like taking his foot off the gas. But Bellew's got to make it hard for him. He's got to make it dangerous for him. And I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't. But I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see it.
Neither can I. Let's assume Usyk does come out on top. He wants to go up to heavyweight. What sort of fights can we expect to see him in?
Well, it's one of the reasons that we signed him, because, you know, when he looked at what he wanted to do, he said, I want to fight Tony Bellew, then I want to fight a heavyweight like Whyte-Chisora, Takam, Povetkin, these kind of guys. Then I want to fight Joshua. I was like, well, I can do all of those for you. So the ultimate aim for Usyk is to fight Anthony Joshua, and it's a fight that Joshua likes as well. But he's got to fight Bellew first. You know, then he's got to fight a heavyweight. Then he'll fight Joshua. But still, long way to go for that. And I think all eyes for everybody should be on the November 10th, rather than thinking about what might lie ahead.
Okay. Brook-Khan, where we at?
We're closer than we've ever been. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we're negotiating for potentially a March fight. I think AHMED wants this rehydration clause in, which could cause some problems. But for Kell right now, he's boxing December 8, and that's the focus. He's only done, 2 rounds since he boxed Errol Spence, so he needs this fight. And hopefully, by the time that fight takes place, we may even have the Khan fight done. But that's the aim. We want Brook-Khan, and hopefully we can get it over the line for spring. December
8th, what weight will that be for Kell?
It'll be at 154, but I wouldn't be surprised if he came in a bit lighter. With Kell, when you talk about 147 pound, Kell needs a 15, 16 week training camp to make that weight. So this fight is almost like an extended training camp to have the fight, sharpen the tools, and then stay in camp to make 147. Because Kell's biggest downfall has always been the life he leads outside of camp. Stuffs his face, next thing he's 13 stone, and he's got to work to get that weight down. And I think that was one of the problems in the Spence fight, is he left it a little bit late, you know, and he needed a few more weeks to make that weight efficiently.
What did you make of his statement regarding Dominic Ingle?
To be honest, I don't really know a great deal about it. I mean, I know Dom's been very busy. You know, he's been in Toronto with Kid Galahad and Billy Joe before the Kid Galahad fight, and obviously the Billy Joe fight that fell through. So I think Kell just took himself off to Fuerteventura, not because he says, you know, fuck you, but just because he says I've got to start my camp. So I haven't actually spoke to him about the ins and outs of his training team and what he's going to be doing. But I think right now he wants to keep himself in Fuerteventura to make sure there's no distractions, and he prepares for a very important period of his career.
Will Kell fight with the rehydration clause in place?
I'm not sure. I think right now I'd have to say no. But there's going to be things in this fight that Kell's going to have to do to get the fight. So that's up to him.
Looks like obviously Manny Pacquiao's tied up with Broner, so it just leaves that fight really for them two.
I think so. You know, I mean, I think AHMED's got to stop chasing Broner. And I think the route for Pacquiao. I think the route for Pacquiao is now Broner and then Mayweather. That's what Pacquiao is looking at. So, you know, you can be told this and that, but ultimately, that fight with Khan Pacquiao doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, therefore, have the biggest fight out there. It's Kell Brook. It's the one the British public want. And I don't think the public would forgive either guy if that fight didn't happen. So, you know, it's important for their legacies to make sure it gets over the line.
Just last one, Eddie. Rumours of Golovkin possibly joining DAZN. Can you comment on that?
I think it would be the obvious move for him. I think that obviously, you know, with Matchroom, Billy Joe, not yet, Demetrius Andrade, Danny Jacobs, obviously Canelo's with DAZN as well. So if you want to fight for the belts, generally those fights are going to be on DAZN. So if you want to fight Canelo, you have to be on DAZN because that's where his fights are. So I think sometimes people make decisions based off emotion. You know, I know there's been a not fallout between Golovkin and Golden Boy, but obviously that's a big rivalry there. Listen, I've got some fights for Golovkin, Demetrius Andrade, Danny Jacobs,
Rematch,
Callum Smith. You know, that's a fight I really like for Anfield, and it would mean Golovkin moving up to super middle, challenging for the WBA full title, the Ring Magazine title as well. And I'll tell you what a night that would be at Anfield. So I mentioned that to Tom the other day. We've got a good relationship with Tom, speak a lot, and we'll see. But you know, we'd love to have him on DAZN. I think it would be the right place for him.
And Danny Jacobs wants Canelo?
That's the fight. I mean, look, Canelo's got to beat Rocky Fielding first,
Oh,
December
of course.
15th. So, but if he moves back down to middleweight, the natural fight now is a unification between Canelo and Danny Jacobs, and that's a fight that I think DAZN would be very keen to make, and I think that would be a front runner for Cinco de Mayo.
And Billy Joe, the possibility of him fighting Andrade?
Yeah, I mean the WBO convention, I think today actually is when they're going to be talking about that. We don't know what they're going to do in terms of the ban, but maybe they make Billy Joe the mandatory. You know, we would certainly have no problem. He's not going to vacate the belt over Billy Joe. Obviously the split will be completely different, but you know, I still think that's a big fight, and the key for Andrade is just to make sure we keep him active.
All right, giving me 20 minutes of your time, so I'll let you go. Pleasure talking to you.
Mate, see you next week.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you for talking to IFL, Eddie.